What's going on, Ewan, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mav, bringing you to another dope list video after so long. This one is going to be 5 movies that everyone hates that I love, and 5 movies everyone loves that I hate. And you already know it's my number one rule with these videos. You got to make your own list if you disagree with my picks. I'm going to give you all another rule here. Excuse me. It ain't gonna be no honorable mentions. It ain't gonna be no honorable mentions this time around, because I do plan to turn this into a series, amongst other things, like the Crush series I did a few months ago. But yeah, man. First of all, I want to say I'm grateful to be back in front of y'all doing list videos. I would have done one last week, but I had a sore throat. But now that my throat is back healthy again, I am fully at my peak of my powers to where I can do this for you guys again. I appreciate y'all liking, subscribing, and all of that. We passed 1.6K. Y'all keep the engagement going, keep the conversations going, keep sharing, keep liking, all that good stuff, all right? Hold on. Excuse me, y'all. Wintertime blues. But anyway, let's get right into it. Movie that I hate that everyone loved. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And the reason why I say everybody loves it and I hate it is because this movie actually got positive reviews by Rotten Tomatoes and several other internet sharks, man. Well, my question to them is like, were these people in the freaking theater? Oh my gosh. Like, okay. The main problem with this movie is that they switched directors. They went from J.J. Abrams to Rian Johnson, and Rian Johnson pretty much directed this movie into a shithole that Rise of Skywalker couldn't save it from. Like, this was the beginning of the end for the new trilogy for Star Wars, for the sequel trilogy, man. Like, this movie is a load of just crapping on everything that made the original trilogy iconic. And the prequel trilogy, hold up the original trilogy on its feet. And then Force Awakens was a good beginning, but, you know what I'm saying? So there was a lot bad just as much as it was good, so it was a mixed bag. And then this movie just chopped every leg, you know what I'm saying, from the front. The Rise of Skywalker, leaving the back legs to Rise of Skywalker. Like, this movie was absolutely a disappointment of epic proportions. Like, why did they turn Luke into a guy that doesn't care about, the Jedi Order and training up new Jedi and all that? Like, why did they turn him into that? And then, like, dog, why did they do my boy Finn so bad? Like, he's the only black main character, you know what I'm saying? Because Lando is a side character technically. He's the only black main character in this, and then you give him a stupid romance arc with a chick named Rose, when we all know from the beginning he liked him some freaking Rey. Why? And then dog, Snoke, oh my lord. Why did they kill Snoke off so early? And then, not only that, they had a BS reason in the next movie why he was killed. It turned out he was a body that freaking Palpatine was the puppet master of. Like, we supposed to believe that this dude is the big bad behind Kylo Ren? Come on! Weak. Trash. Garbage. The high point of this movie is when Kylo and Rey was teaming up against Snoke's little goons. That's one high point. You know what I'm saying? The other high point is Luke finally dying, I think. But before that, tricking Kylo Ren into thinking that he was there in person when really he was just a Force apparition. And that triggered him so much. I'm sorry. Kylo Ren is a weak villain. He has nothing on Darth Vader. Anyways, let me move on before I blow a gasket on this movie. Like, 2 packs of ass. This and Rise of Skywalker. 2 packs of ass.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
Love. This movie got crappy reviews, but I don't care. I go back to this movie every time it's on TV. Jason freaking X. This dude, Jason, just when you thought you'd get rid of him, some idiots in the future in space just dig up his bones and just thaw him out and thinking that it's a good freaking idea. But no. It's always been a running gag that some idiot revives Jason without even realizing it. Sometimes on purpose. Like this movie, it was on purpose. And they executed it flawlessly here. I even like his first kill where he smashes somebody's head through after putting it in the doggone liquid that freezes you, and then he just smashes his face on the table and just tosses it. I'm like, this dude is a badass! And then like another great kill is when those two horny little broads started stripping down, dang near butt naked, and then like he just takes them in a sleeping bag and just beats them against each other like pow, pow, pow. The kills in this movie were freaking hilarious, man. And then like when he comes out as Uber Jason after being put in that chamber, epic shot. Epic shot. I don't care, man. This movie rocks, man. Like, way to blend sci-fi and horror. Because usually the two don't mix. But this was amazing. Shout out Jason X, man. Hate. Casino Royale from 06. Not the old school from the 60s. No, we're talking about the Casino Royale from 06. Reason why. I grew up in the Pierce Brosnan era of 007 films, and those films were pretty good. And then I went back and watched Sean Connery and Roger Moore. They were great Bonds too. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't get Daniel Craig's portrayal. I think these movies get well received because of how well they are written, rather than the portrayal of James Bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like Daniel Craig takes James Bond roles too serious when we've always been used to his lightheartedness and his riz with the ladies and all that. Like, you know, I mean, you saw some riz with the ladies in this one, but like it wasn't as like, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't as free spirited as when Sean Connery would do it, as when Roger Moore would do it, and as Pierce Brosnan would do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, granted, the storyline definitely carried, but I hate this movie because of the portrayal of James Bond. Like, it's not the same James Bond we know and love. I'm just keeping it real. Daniel Craig fans, do not shoot me. He's just not my cup of tea. All right. Love. Spy Kids 3, game over. Now, when this movie came out, everybody said this was boring and it was trash. Me, as a 4-year-old kid watching this, and then in my teenage and adulthood years going back and watching this was a fun ride. Like, I thought this movie was actually pretty good. Like it's not as good as its predecessors, Spy Kids 1 and Spy Kids 2, Island of Lost Dreams, which is the GOAT of franchise, in my opinion. Everybody says Spy Kids 1, but I'm like, nah, Spy Kids 2 takes the cake for because of the character development. But I can get into that in another video. We're talking about Spy Kids 3. Spy Kids 3 was actually solid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do like the main plot of kids getting trapped in the game as they play it, you know what I'm saying? And they can't get out unless they shut the game down from online. Because this was released around the same year like the very first Xbox got presented to us. And it introduced us using Wi-Fi to get online instead of having to use a LAN Ethernet cable if you had a PS2 to get online. You know what I'm saying? It introduced a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it was a nice predecessor to what we would get later on down the line when come 3 to 4 years time the Xbox 360 gets launched, and then the PS3 gets launched, and then sometime in the midst of that the Wii comes out, you know what I'm saying, and they would have you know what I'm saying, go over Wi-Fi and play online, just like these kids in these movies. They are literally in the game online trying to beat it as a unit, you know what I'm saying. I do like some of the tasks that Junie has to go through, like fighting mechs, fighting Tinker Toys, you know what I'm saying, riding and surfing through lava, after finding his sister, because the first half of the plot was finding Cartman. The second half of the plot was shutting down the game. I do like the twist at the end where the guy turns out to not be so good because the toy maker takes him out in less than 5 seconds. I'm like, wow, what a waste of Elijah Wood. Because really the guy is Junie in uniform. Because the guy did not have the uniform strong enough to withstand those bolts. And it turned out that Junie was not the deceiver. Shorty, who was the AI that he beat in the mech and was slowly starting to have feelings for, turns out she was the deceiver the whole time. I'm like, what a freaking twist! Ah! And then the fact that towards the end of the movie, it took his granddad, after they shut down the game, they pretty much let all the toy makers, minions and all that come through and try to destroy the world and whatnot. And it took his granddad to get inside the toy maker's little hub inside of the cockpit of his mech. And it took him to finally forgive him for him to pretty much call off his attack. And that's kind of like a callback to the first movie where Junie has a conversation with Fluke to turn him good. Second movie, well, the conversation doesn't happen in the second movie, but Donegan in this movie, who was the villain in Spy Kids 2, after he got dismissed as director of OSS, he got relegated to research and development after Gertie, at the end of the second movie, threatened to tell his wife, which is portrayed by fine ass Salma Hayek. Anyway, let me stop.
You's a freaky ass nigga!
After he gets persuaded, gets relegated into research and development with his wife, Salma Hayek, he pretty much is back into being a good guy. You know what I'm saying? It's some nice face heel turn moments in these movies that I just can't overlook. You know what I mean? And then everybody banding together, everybody hated it, but me, I liked it, especially when the cowboy Dickie Weeks out of nowhere pretty much branded one of the robots with his skiller. With his name on it. That's hilarious. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton, man. But yeah, I will still go back to this movie. Hands down. This movie's fun to watch. The story may not be as great as the other two, but it's still a fun wild ride to get through. You know what I'm saying? I understand why people had the criticisms, but once you overlook it, it's actually a great movie to watch. Anyway, warning, we do not talk about the fourth movie. That didn't happen. I don't care if fine as Jessica Alba is in the movie. That didn't happen. Moving on. Hate. Paranormal Activity. I could put the whole series in here, but I'm putting the first one because of how overhyped it got in the middle of my middle school days. Why did people like this movie? I watched it once when my parents got it for Redbox, and I'm like, this isn't even scary. And the story was so boring to me that I stopped watching it midway through. I went back to my room and started playing my PlayStation 3. So yeah, man, this movie is just a mess. It tries to jump scare you. It tries to come off like it's The Exorcist, but it fails. It fails on so many reasons. I'd rather watch The Exorcism of Emily Rose all over again than deal with this bullshit. This isn't even scary. I don't know who created this movie, but you could have done better, bro. You could have done better. Shaun of the Dead is a million times better than this, because at least it actually has freaking humor. This movie has no freaking humor. Trash. Love. Some of y'all might get mad, but I don't care. Because this movie right here, fucking hilarious. A lot of y'all hated this movie, but I love to see the Chucky. I freaking love to see the Chucky. I watched it for the first time as an adult in years a couple weeks ago, and I still find it fucking hilarious. Like, bro. First of all, let me target you into the demographics that may or may not like this movie. The main audience that don't like this movie are white horror movie fans. And I get it. It's not what you expected it to be. It's not, you know what I'm saying, what you were used to in the Child's Play series. I get it. I get it. But once you don't take this movie seriously, like, mind you, I was 5 when I first watched the movie. I did not take this movie freaking seriously. Not at all. Once you turn off your brain, you'll actually enjoy this movie. Most black people I run into that watch this movie like this movie. And it shows, man. Like, we were represented very well with Redman, even though he died later on in the movie. But still, we were represented pretty well with Redman, you know what I'm saying? Get it seduced by milfy ass Jennifer Tilly, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I do love about this movie. They blend borderlines between the fiction and the reality really, really good here, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a fourth wall break happening throughout the whole entire film. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got a lot of great fucking scenes in here. Like, you know, you have Chucky and Tiffany literally being hooked up to a robot machine and portraying themselves in a whole different film where they're stalking a Santa Claus in England, where the dog goes haywire and doesn't repeat its lines correctly. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, their son, who was birthed in the prequel to this movie, Bride of Chucky, at the end of it, Glenn, well, their androgynous son, because sometimes he switches between Glenn and Glenda. Their son Glenn finally finds them and resurrects them, and then they get to witness both of them killing. You know what I'm saying? And Glenn has a tendency to wet his pants. Everybody didn't like it, but Chucky's response to that, he was like, "Oh gosh, kid, you're pissing your pants." And then even when he first meets him, he was like, "What? Whose parents do this kid belong to be called shitface?" And I'm like, you do realize you're roasting yourselves here, Chucky and Tiffany. And then there was another funny scene. Man. Another funny scene in here is when, like, after they knock out Jennifer Tilly and Redman, and then, like, Jennifer Tilly gets tied up. Actually, no. This was after Redman gets killed because Jennifer Tilly told him that he was pregnant, and then Redman was like, "Impossible, I had a vasectomy not that long ago." And the fact that they didn't even get down to the business because Chucky and Tiffany were looking for them to inherit their body, you know what I'm saying? So they had to knock both of them out. You feel me? After Jennifer Tilly gets tied up, and after Chucky in a weird but funny ass scene, and him masturbating to horrorcore porn models, you know what I'm saying? And then the photographer was like, "A masturbating midget? Ooh, God bless the little people." I'm like, dude, you're such a creep. And then, like, of course Chucky would get off to stuff like that. Like, he was having a good old time in there, man. Pause no Diddy because, you know, a doll masturbating, but like, he was enjoying himself, man. It's too hard there, like. But yeah, back to what I was getting to. Freaking Jennifer Tilly is tied to the bed, and then Chucky was like trying to grope her, and then, like, Tiffany Buzzard was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And then she sprang her hair, and then Chucky was like, "She came on to me. What was I supposed to do?" And I'm like, "You lying motherfucker! You was trying to grope her in front of your wife. He a dirty Mac for that." And then I want to say, like, the night before, Chucky sneaks Glenn out to try to kill the photographer that was taking pictures of everybody. And then he has one last picture of him with the photographer that got that acid poured on his face because Glenn scared the shit out of him. And he ended up bumbling and falling onto like a shelf with the sulfuric acid on top, and then it breaks and falls on his head and it burns him. And then Chucky was laughing his butt off and it took the picture, and then once the picture falls out of Chucky's pouch, Tiffany just scolds him for it. He was like, you should have seen the kid. He's a natural born killer. But yeah, man. Another funny scene is all the times when Tiffany is spying on Jennifer Tilly, and she hears her and Redman, you know what I'm saying, about to get it on. And she's like, man, she's such a slut. Like, it's the delivery of these lines. Not how cliche they are. It's how it's delivered, man. And then, like, even before Glenda and Chucky kill the photographer, he runs a fake ass Britney Spears off the road, and then Chucky's like, oops, I did it again. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, Chucky. Oh man. But yeah, man. But above all this, the best part of the movie is, well, there's three very best parts, and they happen sequentially. Glenn telling his parents he don't want to be no killer. And then later on turning into Glenda, who actually wants to be a killer, and burning Jennifer Tilly's assistant Joan on fire. And then Chucky just praising it all to live in hell. And then Tiffany slapping the crap out of him. And it turns him back into Glenn. That was iconic. And then Chucky's rant about him having a high tolerance for nuts, but him wanting to be a human being, too much for him. And his speech about him remaining a killer doll and him digging it is less complicated, and he complains about the harsh realities of humanity, of him getting old and not being able to get it up anymore and all of that. And then as a doll, he's famous. He's the most notorious killer doll to ever exist and all that, and he doesn't want to lose his reputation. And then Tiffany, mind you, there were signs of her turning face with her calling the over the phone psychologist about her dealing with her addiction to killing and all that, and how she no longer wants to be a killer and wants her and Chucky to be as good role models for their son/daughter. There were signs of it, but it finally came to light when Tiffany was like, I want to be Jennifer Tilly. I want more Chucky. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you are anymore. And then Chucky's like, what are you trying to say, Tiff? And then Tiffany's like, it's over. I'm leaving you, Chucky, and I'm taking the kid. And I'm like, classic. The face turn. And he was like, nobody leaves me. And then he tried to throw the knife to kill her. And then the doggone limo driver, chauffeur, jumps in front of Tiffany to save her life. And then Tiffany takes that same knife and throws it back at Chucky. Masterful writing. And then over towards the end of the movie, after Tiffany does the chant, and then Chucky breaks in the room with the axe, he teased us by making a shining reference by saying, here's Johnny. He was like, I forgot what I was about to say. Fuck it. And he breaks into the freaking hospital room. You know what I'm saying? Unknowingly how he got in there, how he got even in the building, but we're gonna roll with it. And then freaking Tiffany finally does the chant and then gets hacked in her head by Chucky. And then Glenn, proving once and for all that he wants to be a face and not a killer, he finally stands up to Chucky and hacks every single one of his limbs and then cuts off his head. He was like, it's not Glenda. It's your chip off the old block. Oh, that's fucking amazing. And then he finally transfers his two beings into the twins that Jennifer Tilly gave birth to in scenes prior. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the ending part of the movie is Glenn and Glenda having a birthday party. You know what I'm saying? And Jennifer Tilly being the mother. And then, like, their nanny, you know what I'm saying, complaining about Glenda, giving her a hard time, and how Glenn is the sweetheart. Obviously, because Glenn doesn't want to be a killer. He's a face. He's a kind kid. You know, Tilly still has the Tiffany doll in her hand. And then she smacks the freaking nanny right across the head with it, revealing that Tiffany's soul is inside of Jennifer Tilly's body. And it's successful. The body switch was successful. You know what I'm saying? That was an amazing plot. That was an amazing plot device right there, man. And then how the movie ends with Chucky never truly being dead is Chucky's arm is presented to Glenn with an unknown writer, and the arm comes up and chokes Glenn. Human Glenn, that is. Telling us that this franchise is far from over. Which leads us to Curse of Chucky, but I'll make another video for that if you want me to. Moving on. Hate. Avatar. Avatar is one of the most overrated, most overly CG movies ever. Like, when I watched it as a kid, I couldn't get into it worth a damn because I was fooled. Because around that same time, you know, the real Avatar movie, which was The Last Airbender, got announced. And I thought this was that. But no. I mean, if you ask me, both this movie and The Last Airbender were 2 packs of ass. So, and like, I hardly even remember the plot because I was just so bored. I was just so bored looking at this movie. Like, I couldn't get into this when I saw it. Like, I didn't see what my middle school friends saw in this movie. Like, I don't get it. And I still won't. And I heard this movie got a sequel after so long. I still won't watch the sequel. And this movie is getting a threequel in 2000 in the next year. And I'm not going to care to watch that one. Because of how boring this movie is. I don't see what y'all see in it. Moving forward. Love. Halloween Resurrection. I know why this movie gets hated, because Michael's death in Halloween H2O was retconned, and to say that he crushed somebody's vocal cords and made him put on the uniform and mask, so it wasn't really him that got his head cut off. But this freaking movie is a fun ride from start to finish. First of all, you know what I'm saying, the house party where Deckard is guiding the main characters through, I thought that was pretty lit, because at the time it reminded me of Wade from Kim Possible. When I watched this, I was a kid, mind you. And then you know what I'm saying, you got you know what I'm saying, Busta Rhymes being the head of Dangertainment, which is the production company that's shooting all of this and making it possible for them to be inside Michael Myers' house, old ass house, you know what I'm saying, old abandoned house, that, and Tyra Banks as his girlfriend. And then you have my boy from the barbershop in this movie too. He was pretty solid. I like how he stood up to Michael and fought him with 2 knives. He was like, first he threw some spices in his eyes to blind him temporarily. He was like, and then he took 2 knives and was like, "What's some of this? Huh?" He was standing up to him at first. You know what I'm saying? But Michael, being stronger than he looks, you know what I'm saying, easily overpowered him. And then he pretty much stabbed him on the door after lifting him up out of his shoes. And then, like, leaving him there to hang like he's a curtain. The kills in this movie were fantastic. Then there was another one where he squished the dude's brains out to the point where blood was leaking from his eyes. And then he cut the blonde girl's head off clean too. It was clean to where, like, the people watching from the party, her head was rolling with the camera, and they were screaming like a mother freaker, man. But But y'all already know the MVP of this movie belongs to Busta Rhymes, aka Freddy. First of all, when he first ran into the real Michael Myers, when he was trying to be the fake one, he thought it was somebody from his crew. He told off Michael Myers so quick that Michael Myers didn't even hesitate to go back. He didn't even try to kill him. It's like Michael knew he was about business. A lot of people didn't like that, but I loved it. As somebody that's used to seeing black people die in horror movies, I loved it. And then, like, this dude saved Lori, which was the main white girl, contacting Deckard throughout the movie, because you know she had some plot on her. This dude went absolute ape shit on Michael Myers. First of all, he hit sticks him, allowing Lori to run free. And then like, Michael was like, "Get off me, bro!" And then just shoves to the side, and then tries to go look for Lori. And then Lori pretty much wraps the doggone cord around Michael as Michael is trying to kill Freddy. And then, like, you know what I'm saying, Michael throws her off and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And then failing to realize that Lori wrapped the camera cord around his neck. So Freddy, realizing that, you know, Michael is distracted trying to kill Lori with his slow ass, he was like, "Yo, Michael, come see me. Yo, Michael, come and see me. Mike, look at me." What time? Yeah. Because remember, before that, he was like, "So you want to be on Dangertainment? Let's see what you got." And then he just round kicks him like he was straight out of a kung fu movie. And then he was trying to kick him again, and he grabbed his leg, and then that's when Lori wrapped the doggone camera cord around him. After he was trying to chop his leg off. You know what I'm saying? So while he was trying to kill Lori, he was like, "Michael, come and see me. Yo, Mikey, come and see me." And then he's like, "Hi!" Then he got in his kung fu stance. He was like, "Fuck me, huh? Motherfucker." And then he jumps and then delivers a mean Liu Kang like flying kick to his chest, and then kicks him right out the window and leaves him there to hang. Somehow with the knife still in his hand. And then they try to get out, you know what I'm saying, and through the shed and through the back shed and whatnot. And then Michael comes out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying, and tries to hurt Lori. And then freaking Freddy busting through the door. Michael thought he left him there, but he didn't. And then busts around, comes through the door like, "Trick or treat, motherfucker." And then tries to take him on with a shovel. And he hits him a few times, sure. But Michael eventually ends up breaking the shovel with his raw strength, and then he tosses Freddy to where the cable connections inside the shed were. And he was like, and then he saw that the doggone place was on fire. You know what I'm saying? He saw the electrical wires after Lori was trying to defend herself. And then he pretty much shot Michael in his crotch. And then pretty much Michael is just sitting there getting electrocuted near the fire, getting burnt to a crisp. He was like, "Burn, motherfucker, burn!" And then he grabs Lori and escapes with her. He was like, "Hey, Mikey, happy fucking Halloween, motherfucker." And I'm like, for once, the black guy is the hero, and he survives. Mind you, I watched this before I watched H2O, and LL Cool J has the same plot armor. Sadly, that plot armor did not work for Tyra Banks in this movie and Kelly Rowland in Freddy vs. Jason. Bang, moving forward. Gotta love Halloween Resurrection. Got to. And for the number one movie that everyone loves that I hate, it goes to The Notebook. And I still hate this movie. First of all, I remember getting tricked into seeing it when I was 5 years old by my parents, thinking I was going to go see Spider-Man 2. Because remember, both this and Spider-Man 2 were in theaters around the same time. I thought I was going to go see Spider-Man 2, but nope. I went and saw this movie. And my 5-year-old butt halfway was snoozing through this. Snoozing. And then, like, oh my God. Everybody, every chick in the damn theater was swooning over Ryan Gosling. And I'm like, he's not all that. No Diddy, though. And then, like, oh my God, bro. The plot. Oh, the plot is so freaking messy. Oh my God. Like, this dude went hardcore simp level. Like, why you got ladies standing all these simps is because you wanted to happen and you were like, this is not real life, bro. And how this movie ended. Oh my freaking lord. Like, this movie had one of the saddest endings to a rom-com ever. Like, I thought rom-coms were supposed to make us feel good. And then they pretty much squandered everything by revealing that one of these characters ends up dying. What the hell? I don't get why this movie gets the praise that it does. I don't get it. And I still hate this movie. I might watch it for the first time in years as an adult, because the last time I watched it, I was a teenager, and I still didn't like this movie. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. I'm going to get too angry, and I don't want to break any of my equipment. But I'm going to get to the last movie that everyone hates that I love, and that honor goes to Spider-Man freaking 3. Yet another threequel that hit the mark for me. And I still come back and watch this and prove to y'all why Tobey Maguire is the GOAT Spider-Man when it comes to live freaking action.
Yes, Sasuke! Yeah!
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Hell yes. The fight scenes, amazing. The karmic storyline of Sandman being the true killer of Uncle Ben and Spider-Man wanting blood, amazing. Harry doing manipulative shit after losing his memory and then gaining it back, masterful. The only parts of this movie I didn't like is that Venom felt a little rushed. And Eddie Brock as Venom did not get enough time. That's the only bad part about this movie. That and Peter underneath the Venom symbiote was kind of tweaking, but it was semi hilarious at the same time though. Like, especially that dance. That dance he was doing was, and how badass it was acted towards Eddie Brock after Eddie was trying to press him. I'm like, step your foot on his neck, Peter. Stand up for yourself. Like, the Venom symbiote gave Peter balls that he never knew he had. Not like he didn't have cojones when he's putting on the Spider-Man suit, but the Venom symbiote gave him like asshole level balls. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like that, and not to forget the little Russian shorty. She still had a thing for Peter. You know what I'm saying? She still appears in the movie, being her fine, lovely self. And then like he stood up to his landlord too. That was funny too. While he had the Venom symbiote when he was bad Peter. And then like, dude, he slapped the ish out of Mary Jane in the middle of the doggone dance floor when he fought. Was it Ed? Was it Eddie? Yeah, it probably was Eddie, because I don't think Harry was in that dance club when Peter took Gwen there. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, shout out Gwen Stacy for making an appearance. She was hot. She was amazing. She was lovely. You know what I'm saying? And then like Mary Jane, you know what I'm saying, is doing her, diabolical street shit. You know what I'm saying, by getting with Harry after leaving Peter, after forgiving Peter for kissing Gwen Stacy on stage as Spider-Man. And Gwen, and then like, it was a stage kiss, but still, if I'm Spidey, I don't do that. But then again, not everybody knows Spidey is Peter like Mary Jane does. You know what I'm saying? So that's why she had a pennies in a bunch. You know what I'm saying? And then like, it was for the camera. It wasn't really for real. You know what I'm saying? But if I were Peter, I probably wouldn't have done that. And this was Peter before the symbiote. I wouldn't have done that. But overall, I guess the payoff was fine. I mean, Sandman got redemption by saying that the gun accidentally went off when his partner was trying to tell him to book it, because he didn't telling him that he was going to consider putting down the gun and going home instead of robbing his Uncle Ben for the car. So we got the redemption there. Harry dies fighting off both Venom and Sandman alongside Peter, realizing that Peter didn't kill his dad. His dad killed his dad. Because the whole time he thought Peter killed his dad, but no. His butler told him that, look, I saw the whole thing, and your dad was trying to kill Peter, and Peter got out of the way in time. Your dad didn't. And that's what happened in the first movie. So Harry, realizing what a mistakes he made, he gets his redemption by sacrificing himself in order to beat Venom and Sandman. alongside Peter, dying in Mary Jane's arms. And then how it ended was pretty cool and bittersweet because Mary Jane and Peter actually embraced each other and decided to just move on. You couldn't have wrote this any better. Minus how rushed Venom felt. Like, I felt like if Venom wasn't in this movie, the payoff would have been a bit more lasting. I kind of felt like Venom was a bit rushed. But it is what it is. That's it for all the movies 5 movies that everyone hated that I loved, and 5 movies that everyone loved that I hated. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. And I'll see you all next week, you know what I'm saying, for another potential list video. Till then, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay warm this winter season. I'll see y'all soon. Deuces.